Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on Grab Holdings Limited, NASDAQ Grab. And we're not just looking at a ride-hailing app, are we? This is really about Southeast Asia as well, the quintessential super app.
That's exactly it. And the big question, I think, is whether this massive complexity, the sheer volume of operations, actually makes it, too difficult to ever be consistently profitable.
Right.
So our mission today is to kind of synthesize the latest financials, their strategy documents, just to understand what's really driving them. And for context, the stock's at $6.39 US. That was September 20th, 2025.
Okay.
We'll cover their services, those pretty passive growth forecasts, but also, crucially, the risks, legal risks, regulatory stuff.
Okay, let's start with that service model then. So Grab Holdings, it's a Singaporean multinational tech company.
Yep.
But it actually started in Malaysia, right? Back in 2012 as MyTaxi.
That's right, MyTaxi originally. But this whole pivot to being a super app, that's really about platform diversification, massive diversification.
So what does that actually cover?
Well, think of it in pillars. You've got mobility cars, motorcycles, taxis, the usual stuff.
Okay.
Then deliveries, Grab Food, obviously, but also GrabMart for groceries, Grab Express for parcels.
Right.
Then there's a whole financial services arm. Grab Pay is huge, but also lending, insurance.
Oh.
And then this kind of interesting others category, things like Grab Assistant, like a concierge service Grab It for, well, pets. And even Grab Kitchen, these shared kitchen spaces.
It's kind of wild that one app does, your carpool and your insurance.
It is.
But managing all that across 8 different countries, you mentioned Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam. That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It is complex.
Doesn't that complexity, especially the regulatory side in 8 markets, just immediately sort of eat into any efficiency gains they're hoping for?
It absolutely could. And you see that tension reflected in their financials.
Yeah.
So look at 2023 revenue reported $2.359 billion.
Okay.
But the 2025 forecast is way up, projecting between $3.33 and $3.4 zillion.
Yeah.
That's quite a jump.
That is a big jump.
But what's maybe even more telling is the 2024 adjusted core profit forecast. They were projecting $250 million to $270 million. Positive adjusted profit.
Okay, that's a huge shift from, years of burning cash. But I have to push back a bit on adjusted.
Yeah.
What exactly are they adjusting out to get to that adjusted core profit?
That is a good catch. That adjusted metric is key. It typically strips out non-cash things like stock-based compensation, amortization of intangibles. The idea is to give a clearer view of the sort of day-to-day operational health.
Okay, so it's operational profit, basically.
Pretty much. And they're aiming for those numbers by focusing hard on efficiency. Which brings us to their tech.
Right, the AI piece. I saw they've rolled out this AI merchant assistant.
Yeah, they give sellers business insights, helps optimize inventory, pricing, that sort of thing.
And there's an AI driver companion, too,
Yeah.
using predictive analytics, voice reporting. So the goal here is clearly cost savings, right? Better matching, better routes, which should widen those profit margins. And that profit comes from, what, commissions, subscription fees?
Yeah, commissions, subscriptions, interest and fees from the financial side, and advertising, too. It's a multi-sided platform.
Okay, but with that scale comes risk. Let's pivot to the challenges. You mentioned their 20F report.
Right. And for you, the listener, the 20F, that's the big annual filing foreign companies have to give U.S. regulators. It basically outlines all the risks for American investors.
So it mentions the usual suspects, regulatory hurdles, competition, operational challenges in Southeast Asia, which is, dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a specific immediate legal threat they've flagged?
There is. It points to jurisdictional risk, specifically a complaint filed back in October 2023,
Okay.
filed in the Superior Court of California, against Grab Holdings Limited and its subsidiaries.
In California. Interesting.
Yeah, the fact that a major Asian tech company is facing significant legal action in a U.S. court, that could set precedents. And it definitely impacts investor views, operational focus. It makes things more complicated globally.
So wrapping this up for the listener, what's the takeaway? Grab seems positioned as this dominant, really diversified digital player. They're using AI, seemingly, to try and solve that profitability puzzle.
Right.
But the very thing that makes them dominant, the sheer range of services operating across 8 different legal systems, that's also maybe its biggest vulnerability.
Exactly, which leads to a final thought for you to consider. We know about the specific legal case in California. We know they're expanding rapidly across 8 very different countries. So thinking ahead, what new regulatory challenge might be the toughest for a centralized super app like Grab to handle? Maybe something around cross-border data privacy. Or perhaps antitrust issues, given their market share. That's the question worth mulling over.